Okay, hello, good evening. Good evening and welcome to another live class for today. Welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Okay, guys, so I am just going to wait for people to join the stream. Yes, I'm going to wait. So, as soon as you come in, please let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so that's very important. So I want to know, find out if you can hear me. So once I get a confirmation that you can hear me, once somebody confirm, we're good to go. We're just going to start our tutorial for today, okay? I'm just trying to position my camera properly. My lighting, it's like my lighting is a little bit not very shiny. I should increase the brightness. It looks like it's not very bright. Okay, yes, it's like I adjusted it wrongly. Okay, guys, so please let me know. I just need somebody to please confirm that you can hear me. So let's just get started straight into our tutorial for today. So I need somebody to confirm, okay? Let me know in the comment section, please. These people that are on, are they not our people? So I need somebody to please confirm. Okay, so I'm trying to arrange my pattern paper properly. So these are the pattern papers that I'm going to be using. So the one I'm using this one for the back, and then the other one I'll use for the front. So this one is for the front really. The other one is for the back. So I think what we are going to do, we'll draft the back first. So as more people join the stream, I think it will be better. Can you please what's your Salo Wow, can you please okay. I really can't understand I can't understand the translation. So let's just get started, okay? So I'm going to adjust my camera right now so we can start our tutorial. I have other things, so let's just get started. Okay, so let's see. So I'm just trying to position the camera properly so we can get and capture everything we want. So if you notice, so I have my pattern paper here. So I have about 4 lines on the pattern paper. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to draft the back pattern. So let's draft the back pattern first. So with that, it will be easier for us, okay? So for the back pattern, I have some lines here which I'm going to explain. So the first line I have here is my shoulder line, and then I have my chest line, and then I have my waist line, and then I have my hip line, okay? So now I'm always closing my mark. I don't want breeze to dry it up. So the first thing we're going to do now, we are going to mark out our shoulder measurement, okay? So for the shoulder measurement, our shoulder measurement is 14. So you divide 14 into 2. I'm going to have 7. So I'll mark 7 inches and then add just 1 inch for my shoulder allowance. So from this 1 inch point that I added, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. So when I come down by 1 inch, that 1 inch, I'm going to mark this. So what I'm doing now is just like a basic top, okay? That's like a basic body. So I'll come down from that point, and then from this point I'm going to mark this into my chest line point. So I'll use it as my armhole measurement, okay? So I'll just connect it like this, and then from this point, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take half of my armhole measurement. So I'll just check what I have here and then mark the half of it like this, and then from that point I'm going to create a curve, okay? I'm going to create a curve like this. So this is for my back armhole, okay? So I've created a curve. And then the next thing, I'm going to add my bust measurement. So my bust is 36. So when I divide 36 into 4, I'm going to have 9 inches. So this is 9 inches. I'll add 1 inch on the bodies for my dart, and then I'll add 2 inches as my allowance, okay? So I'll mark it at that point. And then the next measurement, I'm going to come to my waist measurement. On the waist measurement, I'm going to mark my waist measurement. So my waist is 34. So when I divide 34 into 4, I'm going to have 8 points. I cannot read that, so I'll just use the tape the way I folded it, and then add my 1 inch dart, and then add my 2 inches allowance also. So after adding it like that, I'm going to connect this line now to my waistline like this, and then the next line I'm going to mark is my hip line. So for my hip line, I'm going to mark my hip measurement, which is 40. I divide that into 4. I have 10 inches. So I'm going to add stitching allowance because my dart is not going to enter my hip, okay? So I'll just add my stitching allowance like that, and then I am going to just curve this like this, okay? Okay. All right. Odeyemi, you are welcome. Okay, how to cut corset, okay? So if you follow this pattern that we're doing now, you can easily, with this pattern that we're about to draft, you will easily be able to cut out a corset from it. Very simple and easy. So I'll show you how to adapt it in case you want to cut a corset. So let's just continue. So the next thing I am going to add now is my shoulder, my neckline measurement. So for the neckline, I'm just going to do 3 inches by 2 inches, okay? Or 3 inches by 1, because it's a high neckline, before we cut out the yoke. So from that, I am going to, so I'm looking for the best way to actually connect this, okay? Okay, so I've marked that out. On this side is looking straight, so I'll curve that, okay? Yes, I'll curve that. So that's for my back pattern. So let me cut this out right now. So there's something I'm going to do. I'll show you how to, that zip allowance at that back, how to, okay? So let's see. So for the dart, let's add the dart now. So before we add the dart, on the zip allowance part, remember, on the zip allowance, I actually did not add zip allowance to this, but I'm still going to use it to explain it anyway. So for the zip, to eliminate any zipper bulge, so what I'm going to do, I'll come into this part from the waistline. I'll come in by half of an inch like this. So that half of an inch, this is what I will do. That half of an inch, I'm going to curve it into that point like this. And then from this also, I'll take it to the edge of the zip allowance point, okay? So I'll take it to the edge. It's supposed to be to the edge. Yes, it's not staying well. Yes, it's supposed to be like this to the edge. Yes, to come to the edge. So now this marker is really annoying. It's a new marker that I got, and it's just so dried out. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to add our dart. Okay, so for the dart, so from this point now, I'm going to use half of my bust span measurement, which is 5. And then from that 5, I'm going to connect it with a straight ruler to the top of that chest line. But note, I'm not going to run my dart up to that point. So from that chest line point, I'm going to come down. From that chest line point like that, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. I'll mark it here, and then here, you know, I'm using 2 inches dart, 1 inch dart. So I'll take half of an inch to the right and then half of an inch to the left. And then from this part, I'm going to come up from my waistline. I'm going to come up also by 2 inches. And then after coming up by 2 inches, I'm going to connect all of these lines together like this. And then connect this to this point like this. Okay. So for this other side also, I'm going to connect it like this. And then I'll connect this. So this is for my dart also. I'll just be angry now. Just throw this marker away, so annoying. So I'll mark that. Okay, so this is now for our back pattern. You can see how simple our body's block is for the back. You see, it's very simple and easy. So now the next thing that we're going to go into our tutorial for today, which is the front part, the cupped part. Okay, so for the cupped part, let me check my marker. I hope this works. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to go into that. So this is our back bodies. You can see. Okay. So the next thing now, we are going to draft the front piece. So I have all of my lines here, which I'm going to label now for you to see. So for the lines, the first line I have here is my shoulder line. And then this line is my bust point line. This is my under bust, my waist, and then my hip line. Okay. So I'm going to show you all of the dimensions I am using for this measurement so you will understand. So you can see my bust point line is 10 inches. And then my under bust is 13 inches. My waist is 17. And then my hip line is 23. Okay. So we're going to go through the same process just like we did for our back piece. What I'm going to do on this point, I'm going to mark 7 inches plus 1 inch, which is 8 inches for my shoulder measurement. And then from this point, I'm going to come down by 1 inch, just like we did before. So from that point, I'm going to connect this into my shoulder line like that, into the neckline, sorry. Okay. So I'm going to connect that like that. So when I connect that like that, from that point now, I'm going to mark my, I wanted to adjust forgetting that I'm online. So from that point now, I'm going to come down to 8 inches. So this 8 inches is for my armhole. Okay, so I'll mark that 8 inches like that, and then I'll use my ruler to connect it. I'm just laughing. I use my ruler to connect it like this, and then I would connect. We'll connect like this, okay? So when I connect like this, now the next thing I'm going to mark now, on this point now, I'm going to mark my curve, okay? So the curve that I'm going to mark for my armhole, I'll use half of my measurement. So that's 4. I'll just come in by 1/4 of an inch, and then I'll create a nice curve here like this. Okay, so I've created my armhole curve. So now we're going to go into our cupped bustier now. The next thing we're going to do now, the first thing we are going to do, we are going to mark our dart lines, okay? So for the dart lines now, I'm going to come to my under bust measurement, and then I'm going to use half of my bust pan measurement. So you know I'm using 5. So I'll take that 5, I'll mark the 5 across all of these lines like this, okay? And then I'll connect it with a straight ruler like this, okay? So I'll just run it straight. I'll run it to the down, you understand, to my hip line. Just connect it to this long straight ruler like this. So let's see. Good evening. Happy Sunday, Chinanza. You're welcome. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now from this part now, we're going to mark our darts. Okay, so for the darts, what I'm going to do, so for the darts, I want to use 3 inches to do my darts. Okay, so that 3 inches that I want to use to do my darts, the first thing I'm going to do, okay, before then, that 3 inches, I'm going to come to my under bust line. So this is actually my under bust line. Okay, so this is my bust line, this is my under bust line, and then this is my waistline. So I'll come to my under bust line. That's where I'm going to add my dart. So I'll use 3 inches dart. So I'll use 2 inches to the right hand side, and then 1 inch to my left hand side. Okay, so from this point now, I'm going to connect this dart to my bust point, and then connect this one also. Okay, so you can see how and what I am doing. And then this one on this right hand side is 2 inches. So if your bust is less than 40, you can use these 3 inches. Or if your bust is more than 40, use like 3.5 inches. As you can do 2 inches and 1.5 inches to this side. Okay, thank you. Precious, I'm teaching how to cut a cupped bustier. That's what we're learning how to do. And this cupped bustier, you can use it as a corset also. So today I'm just showing you guys how to draft it. It's a simple, very simple process. Okay, so from this point now, I'm going to mark my darts. Now I'm going to mark them to the down part of my pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to mark this 1 inch that I marked here. So most times, if you have been following me, you notice my patterns. I always don't like straight darts that come straight. I always like my darts slanting. So I always like that. So this one that I use 2 inches on the under bust side, I'm going to reduce it to like 1.5 on this side now. And then this one that I used 1 inch, I will reduce it to like 0.75. Okay, yes. So now I'm going to take my, so you can now see how my pattern is now staying like this. There are some other pattern I can just decide to just flush my dart into my lines like this. So at times also I still like using that pattern. So this actually helps. You can see it helps to give room around the waist area, around the tummy area, especially for people that have tummy. Okay, so I'm connecting it now. Yes, so I've connected it, so you can see how this is looking. The simple process. The next thing we are going to do now, from this point now, I want to do an over bust tightening on top. Okay, thank you so much, Damilola Precious. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So on this top part now, we want to tighten, because you know it's a cupped bustier, so we need this part to be tightened. So for us to tighten that top part, what we are going to do now, we need to mark out our neckline. So in order for us to mark out that neckline, because you know there's a way the cup used to be. It comes like this. You understand? It comes like this. So if you cut it less, the cups are going to be small. The cup is going to be small. So you need to come up. You need to come up. So the curve needs to come from the top. I hope I'm making sense. The curve, it needs to come from the top down. You don't need to take it from the down. If you take it from the down, that cup is going to be small. Okay, yes. Okay, Chinanza, we're cutting a cupped bustier. So this cupped bustier, you can use it as a corset. If you take a look at the picture, you see it there. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys now, how to achieve it. You should see this cupped bustier that you can use as a corset also. That's what I'm teaching you people today. Also, we did just, if you see, it's just like a normal basic pattern. Okay, so the next thing I'm explaining, I want to, this is the main part of the tutorial. I want to form the curve now that will form that bustier curve for you. So that's what I was trying to explain. So in order for you to do that, you need to come up. You understand? You need to come up. So in coming up, you are going to determine how up you want it to be. Do you understand? So from my bust point line, this is my chest line. This line now, I can use this line as my chest line. You understand? Because that's 8 inches, which is like standard for chest line. But I'm still going to go above that line. So from my under bust line, I can decide, that's from my bust point line, I can decide to come up by, like, depends on how curve I want it to be. I can come up by 3 inches. Do you understand? So that 3 inches will help give me a covering up here, and then I can still plunge it down. Okay, yes, Emmanuel, thank you so much. So what we'll do now, so from our bust point line, I'm going to go up by 3 inches, so you can see. So I'm not stopping. You can stop. You can actually use your what do you call it, your chest line is still okay. But since you want that curve, if you want that, I'm trying to explain this. It's a simple process, but once you understand it, thank you, Emmanuel. So once you come up from your bust, this bust point now, this is my, like, my bust point. So just imagine I come up by 3 inches. So this now is from this point that will create that curve, that will like form the curve for me. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to explain. So I'll come to this point like this. So once I come to this point like this, I'm going to mark it. But before I'm going to mark it. Okay, so once I mark it, before then I'm going to join, let me connect this line before we continue. We'll come back to that. So I'll come to my shoulder line, half of my shoulder line. That's half of my shoulder measurement. Before then, let's mark out the neckline. So neckline, let's just use standard of 3 inches width, and then 3 inches depth. That's 3 by 3. So this is just like standard. Let's just use it for our neckline. So just to like highlight our neckline out. Okay, yes, so that's the essence. So when you now do that, so from this point now, I will now measure half of what I have here, which is 2.5. That's what is remaining. I'll mark it here, and then I'll connect it to this line like this. Remember, so I'll connect it to this line, to this my cupped line. So once I connect it now, so you can see now, so I form my curve. So from this point now, I'm now coming up. Remember that 3 inches that we did? I now came up by 3 inches. So this 3 inches now is going to help me to like create a tightening. So once I mark that point like that, the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to tighten that part. Okay, so as I want to tighten that part now, what I'm going to do from this part now, before then I can decide to make a curve. So from this part, let's curve our neckline. So this part now is very important. So on this part, after marking that center, mark it, and then now depends on how, you know, that cup is going to come from this point like this. So how deep do you want it into your chest line? You understand how deep? So it depends on how deep you want it. So you can decide to come down, but if you don't want something that is too exposed, you can just bring it back. You can come down just a little bit below your chest line, just a little bit. That's for those people that don't want plunging. But if I want plunging, you can even take it as much as this. You understand? But if I want plunging, mine, I want it to be plunged, so I'm going to bring it to my bust point line. Okay, so this is my bust point line. So just watch what I'm going to be doing now. So from this point now, I'm just going to create a curve like this. You understand? So you can see. So this now has given me a curve. You understand? It has given me a curve. So I'm going to take this now. Before I'm going to take this now, I'm going to curve this out like this. Okay. So if you notice, I've not tightened that chest area. So I'm going to curve it like this now. You can see the curve. So after curving it this way, the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to blend this now into my armhole line. Can you see? Can you see now that this part, now you see that it's looking like a cupped corset already? So now we want to tighten this part now. So to tighten this part, you can use half of an inch, or you can use 0.75, which is okay. I'll mark it to the right hand side and then mark it to the left hand side. So after marking it to the right and to the left, I'm going to use this now to give this a very fine defined curve like this. So you can see, can you see how this pattern is a really beautiful pattern. I always love using it. So you can see, so I'm just trying to get the right place for it so it sits properly. So you can see, so now this are my darts. So now I've succeeded in tightening that part. So that's for the top part. So when you want to, in case you want to do a snatched waist, you want to tighten the down part. So to tighten the down part, what I'm going to do now, if I want to tighten this down part, I'm going to come on this part now. I'm going to come in on this side and this side. I can decide to take half of an inch. So that half of an inch, that's 1 inch. I'll take half of an inch to this right hand side and then take half of an inch now to this left hand side. So when I do this, after taking half of an inch to this left, I'm going to do this. So I'll just like mark that now to this part, and then this curve, I'll elongate this curve like this. So you can see, so this one also, then this one also, I will do this also. I will elongate this curve like this. I'll just curve it and then elongate the curve like this. So with this now, I've succeeded in tightening this part also. So guys, I took out extra inches from this part, so this will help to snatch that waist part. Okay, it will help to snatch that waist part. So now the next thing we're going to do now, we're almost done, is to take out our full body's measurement. So to take out the full body's measurement, what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure my bust line. But before then, I'm going to check this curve to make sure that it's not shortened. So here I have 3 points. It's almost 3.5. So I'll check it, what I have here is equal. If it's not equal, you just extend the one that is shortened a little bit and then you blend it. So for my bust measurement, I'm using 36, which is 9 inches, and then I'll add extra 1 inch because of this part. Okay, I'll add that extra 1 inch, 1.5 inch to that. I can add 1 inch because I'll still have stitching allowance. So I'll just add like extra 1 inch, which is 10, and then add stitching allowance of about 2 inches. So I'll mark it here like this. And then the next thing, I'm going to come to my under bust line. My under bust is 30 inches, which is 7.5. So this is my 7.5 here. I'll check everything that I have here. You understand? That's 3 inches. I'll carry that 3 inches for my darts. I'll carry that in 3 inches. I'll put it back here. If you notice this snatch part, I did not add it. I'll put that 3 inches back, and then I'll add my stitching allowance of about 2 inches. Okay, I'll mark it like that, and then I will connect. I'll just like join it like this together. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, come to my waist measurement. So for the waist, I'm using 32, which is 8 inches, divide by 4. And then I'll check what I have here. I have about 2.5 inches. I'll bring that 2.5 inches in, and then I'll add my stitching allowance also. And then I'll come to my hip line. So like I said, the hip, I'm using 40 inches. I'll mark it and then check the darts that I have here. So, and then I'll bring that back into my pattern and then add my stitching allowance. Okay, so now all of these lines, now I am going to connect them together like this. So I'll connect this, and then this one I am going to connect this like this. Okay, all right, so guys, we are done. So for this now, in case you want to turn this into a cupped corset, not a cupped bustier, what we just did now is a cupped bustier. This is a beautiful pattern. It's a cupped bustier. In case you want to turn it into a cupped corset, it's a simple process. You people, you know that our corset used to have, we have a cut here at the center. Excuse me. Off that this thing now. Excel. Sorry guys, my phone was ringing. So on this part now, if I'm using it as a cupped corset, so let me use another marker. So on this part now, I'll use like 1/2 inch, which we normally do. That 1/2 inch, I'll mark it and then I'll connect it from this point like this, from this chest line. That's if I'm, this one is just extra in case I'm doing, like if I want to turn this to a corset pattern. From here like this, I'll mark it like this to this point like this. I'll mark that 1 inch, and then after marking this 1 inch, I'll check what I have here. Now I have 3 inches. So from this point now, here's what I'm just going to do. Now I'm going to just like make a curve like this. If I want this to be a cupped corset, you understand? So I'll cut this now. I'll just curve this. That's if I want to curve it. If I don't want to curve it, I'll leave it. I'll check what I have here. What I have here is about 3 inches, and then that 3 inches, I'll bring it to this side and then add 1/2 inch, because our bust is usually fuller on this side. Add 1/2 inch, and then I'll place it here, and then I'll create a curve from this part like this. I'll just like create a curve like this. So this curve now will now serve as my, so once I cut now, so when I'm cutting now, I'll cut here out like this and then cut here out like this. So once I cut here out, I have my corset, round corset, cupped corset. But since this one is not a cupped corset, it's a cupped bustier, so this is what we are going to have. So I'm going to cut that out now. So I'll show you. So you see, so now this is for the yoke. That's if you're adding a yoke. So you can see. So this is for the yoke. If you're adding a yoke, Lillian, you're just cutting. You're just coming. We're almost done. We're cutting a cupped bustier. That's what we're cutting, and we are done already. I'm going to show you now that thing that I was explaining to you people after everything. So you can see what we have. So like I said, if you want to turn this to a cupped corset, now the way I explained, like I explained to you now, you're going to cut here like this now. So in another upcoming class, I will show you guys how to, if you want to do a cupped corset. So this is not, it's not properly done. It's not looking straight, you understand? So in another upcoming class, I'll show you guys how to, I think maybe next class, I think let's do that now. Next class, which is on Tuesday, I'll show you people how to draft a corset. But we're not going to sew it though, but we'll just draft it, okay? Yes, let's do that. So you can see at the end of the day, this is our cupped bustier. This, like I said, this pattern is the same pattern that you will use if you want to do a cupped corset, and then you adapt it. It is a beautiful pattern. So you can see this is my yoke. I'm just looking for the best way to like place this now. Okay, I think let me place it this way. Like. It's not sitting well. Not sitting well. So let's see. Alright, so guys, we are going to stop our tutorial here for today. So you can see what we've got. You can see. So we're going to stop our tutorial for today. So let me take highlight. Okay. So thank you so much, all of you that joined, that tuned in into our tutorial for today. Thank you so much for watching. We are going to stop today. I'll see you guys in my next class. Bye bye.